We got to get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. It is on us. This either matters to us or it doesn't. Like, we either care about these big principles that we say we care about, or we don't. We either believe in the right to vote, we believe in respecting the right to vote, we believe in accepting the will of the people, we have a constitution, we believe in abiding by the constitution, we believe in this country that nobody is above the law. We either fucking believe in these things or we don't. Or we don't. We can decide to just mouth support for all of this. Freedom, equality, the rule of law, the Constitution. We can just mouth support for all of these things. And then when somebody on our team comes along and they abuse these principles, well, then we can decide just to ignore it. And we can decide that we truly don't believe in these big, important American principles. It's on us. I say this as a former congressman. I say this as a former politician. Good and bad people get elected. People get elected all the time who abuse their powers of the office, who commit crimes, who believe they are above the law, who abuse the Constitution. Happens all the time. But it's on us to either penalize those people with our vote or not. I'm tired of blaming the politicians. Donald Trump is who he is. Let's just be clear. Trump has told us now for 8 years he believes he's above the law. You're either fine with that or you're not. That's either a big deal to you or it's not. Or the Democrats suck and CNN sucks and they're a bunch of liberals and socialists and commies, Joe. So yeah, Trump believes he's above the law and abuses the powers of his office. But those guys over there, Joe, they're bad guys. So this notion of nobody in America is above the law, Joe, right now, I'm just going to ignore that because the other side, man, do you see some of the crazy communist shit they want to do? That's either you or it's not. The rule of law either matters to you or it doesn't. And Trump's been telling us for the last 8 years that it doesn't matter to him, that he believes he's above the law, that he believes the laws and the rules and the norms that are supposed to apply to all of us, are supposed to apply to all politicians, they don't apply to him. He's different. He can be a dictator if he wants to be. Trump said it again over the weekend. Donald Trump, just this past weekend, said again that he believes he's above the law. Now, I'm gonna play for you in a second what he said. I'm not gonna jump all over Trump a lot because this is who Trump is. He's an utterly lawless human being. No, I bring this up this Tuesday after Labor Day, and I hope you all had a good, relaxing, long weekend. I bring this up again, what Trump said over the weekend again. Donald Trump over the weekend again said he is above the law. I bring this up to jump on you, Trump supporter, to jump on you, anybody who's thinking of supporting Donald Trump. I'm not going to blame Trump for this. This is maybe the 29th time he's told us and or demonstrated that he believes he's above the law. I'm done blaming him. You, American, you're either cool, and this is on you. You're either cool with it or you're not. You're either going to vote for it again. You're either going to decide, I'm going to vote for somebody who's lawless, who believes he's above the law, or you won't. But that's you. That's on you. Trump was on with Mark Levin. Mark Levin, constitutional expert, rule of law expert, devotee of the Constitution. Oh my God, and he's become nothing but a stupid Trump lapdog. Donald Trump over the weekend on the Mark Levin show said this. Give it to me, Keith.
You get indicted for interfering with a presidential election where you have every right to do it. You get indicted and your poll numbers go up.
You have every right to interfere with an American election. Trump just said that just this past weekend. Forget about the issue whether he should have been indicted for it. We can argue and debate that. I believe he should have. I believe he committed crimes trying to interfere and overthrow the election results. No. Trump said, get inside Trump's head. Trump said, I had every right to interfere with the election. That's a former president, that's a candidate for president now, who says and believes he has every right to interfere with the vote, to interfere with an election, to interfere, his word, to interfere with the elections process, to interfere with that 2-year ritual where the people speak. Donald Trump said, I have a right to interfere with American elections. He doesn't, again, for everybody listening right now, all you Trump supporters, God bless you. Hope you all had a great weekend. Trump doesn't. No American has a right to interfere with our elections process. No American, no elected official has a right to interfere. Every American has a right to question. Every American has a right to adjudicate the results. Donald Trump specifically said, fuck it. I have a right to interfere with the election. He believes he's above the law. Are you good with that? You proud American conservative. All you Trump supporters who used to love me way back in the day, and we would talk about the Constitution and the rule of law. Remember Joe Walsh, Mr. Tea Party? At all of our Tea Party functions back in the day, we talked about how important the Constitution is, how important the rule of law is. Remember back in the day, all my fellow Tea Party Trumpers, remember back in the day, we would jump on Obama's ass for all of Obama's executive orders. Remember, Trump supporters, how pissed off we'd get at Obama, and you'd all rail at him. I'd rail at him. Oh my God, he doesn't give a damn about the Constitution. Feels like a million years ago, doesn't it? Imagine how you'd feel if Barack Obama said, I have a right to interfere with America's elections. I have a right to try to change the result. I have a right to try to overturn the result. I have a right to try to overthrow the election. I have a right to incite people to try to overthrow the election. I have a right, Trump said, to try to pressure my Justice Department to not accept the results. I have a right, Trump said, to convince Republicans in Congress to lie to their constituents about who won the election, Trump said. I have a right, Trump said, to create a fake slate of electors to fuck with the election. Jeff Richardson, sure he did. Though if he did, he does consider they've been interfering since before Obama. I'm not quite picking you up, Jeff. My bad, my problem. Thanks for listening. Thanks for weighing in. It's look, this is pretty crystal clear. I'm not talking about or debating or arguing right now whether Trump should have been indicted. I believe he should have. Maybe you don't. I'm talking about what Trump believes. Trump believes he has a right to interfere with your elections, with my elections, with our elections. He believes he has a right to commit crimes to try to change the election results. He did not say, Rob and Darian and everybody else, Donald Trump over the weekend with Mark Levin did not say, I have a right to question the results. He did not say that. Of course, Trump has a right to question the results. Trump didn't say that. Trump didn't say, I have a right, if I've got real questions and issues, I have a right to take legal recourse. I've been a candidate. Every candidate has a right to do that. Trump did not say that. Trump said, I have a right to interfere with the election results. That means a right to fuck with. That means a right to break the law trying to change. I don't think you believe. Again, Deborah, remember the rule on the social contract with Joe Walsh. You can call me deranged. You can call me a communist. Thank you, Deborah. But you've got to explain to me why I'm deranged. You've got to explain to me why I'm a communist, because I'm all about starting a dialogue. I'm all about starting a dialogue. Why don't you move to China with China Joe, asks Mark. Don't know what that has to do with the price of tea in China, Mark. But thank you for listening. I believe, here's what I believe on this one. I believe that even this bothers even most Trump supporters. I believe that most Trump supporters do not believe Donald Trump or any candidate or any president has a right to interfere with that sacred democratic process we go through every 2 years, where you cast your vote and I cast my vote, and the people speak, and the will of the people is heard, and we accept what the people say, even when it angers us, even when it saddens us. We accept the result because that keeps this process going. So I believe that all of you, most of you Trump supporters, deep down, you don't believe Donald Trump is above the law. You don't believe that Trump or Biden or Kamala Harris or anybody has the right to interfere with what we do every 2 years. And if you do, well, then by golly, say it And we're done. We are done as a representative democracy. If you believe that Trump or Biden or Harris or whoever has a right after an election to try to interfere with that election and try to interfere with the results of that election, then forget about it. Then if Kamala Harris loses, Joe Biden has a right to not certify and accept the results, if that's what you believe, because that's what Donald Trump believes. What you're saying, by the way, thank you, Kathy. If you agree with Trump, you're saying, as Kathy said, Trump has the right to steal votes. Do you believe that? When he says he has a right to interfere with the election, to interfere with the election results, you're saying that Trump has a right to steal votes. Do you believe that? Oh, I hope not. Yes. By the way, Jeff, a bunch of people have told me that I look like Jeffrey Epstein. Now, that bothers me at one level because I think I'm much better looking than Jeffrey Epstein. Much better looking. Probably especially now. Let's hop. There's no easy segue, but let me hop. And let me say this. Let me start like this. Peace in the Middle East is impossible with Hamas. Peace in the Middle East is impossible with a death cult like Hamas. Peace is impossible with them. Hamas, they are terrorists. They are fanatics. Any sort of a hostage deal or a ceasefire deal is impossible with a death cult like Hamas. They are not like you and I. They are animals. They are barbarians. Peace is impossible with groups, with death cults like Hamas. This has been the fatal flaw from the beginning, from immediately right after October 7th. Thinking that Hamas could be negotiated with, thinking that Hamas could be reasoned with. And this is why Israel finds itself where Israel finds itself now. Look, I don't know about you. Yesterday felt like October 7th to me again. I'm not an Israeli. I'm not a Jew. I am as pro-Israel as anybody on this planet. You know where I stand on Israel. Yesterday, the deaths of these 6 Israeli hostages. By the way, 3 Israeli police officers were killed 2 days ago by Palestinian terrorists. Yesterday felt like a day of mourning these past couple days. Again, like October 7th, 6 young hostages, all killed, execution style, shot in the backs of their heads by Hamas 24, 48 hours before their bodies were retrieved. We never should have gotten here. Never should have gotten this far. Israel should have gone in months ago and just finished and obliterated and eliminated Hamas. Look, I know there's a lot of gray in the world. I've had to learn that there's a lot of gray in the world. People are complicated. We all have a little good and a little bad in us. We all have some good and bad reasons for why we do what we do. Most conflicts around the world, there's a lot of gray. There's no gray in the Middle East. It's like, and my friends on the left have a really hard time understanding this. My friends on the left have a hard time acknowledging this. Evil exists. It just does. You can't negotiate with evil. You can't reason with evil. You can't sit down and have a conversation with evil. You can only defeat evil. You can only kill evil. You can only wipe out evil. Israel, again, has learned this the hard way. There's not a lot of gray here when it comes to the Middle East. Let me explain. Israel is good. Israel is imperfect. Israel's made a lot of mistakes over the years. Israel's done some bad things over the years, but Israel is good. Israel is a country of good. The Israeli people are good. There may be some bad apples in the Israeli government, but the Israeli government, a democratically elected government, is good. Israel is good. Hamas is evil. Any Islamist terrorist organization is evil. The Islamic Jihad is evil. Hezbollah is evil. The Iranian ruling regime is evil. There's no gray there. Understand what I didn't say. When it comes to the Palestinian people and the Israeli people, I didn't say the Palestinian people are evil. I said Hamas is evil. There's black and white there. And these last couple days with the murders of these 6 Israeli hostages, and people out there, and I was so disappointed in Joe Biden yesterday, has Benjamin Netanyahu done enough to get a ceasefire, a hostage deal? And Biden said no. What a shitty thing to say at a shitty time. Biden said that yesterday as Israel was burying these 6 hostages. Absolutely shitty time to say it. And Biden says that after Netanyahu and Israel has basically accepted every potential ceasefire deal, and Hamas has basically rejected every ceasefire deal. For Joe Biden, for anybody to come out, like the world is pressuring, they're protesting in Israel. Israelis are protesting, blaming Netanyahu for the fact that there's no deal, blaming Netanyahu for the deaths of these 6 Israeli hostages. Has Hamas done enough? Have you called out Hamas? Hamas kidnapped these hostages 11 months ago. Hamas is the one that held underground these hostages for the past 11 months. Hamas tortured and isolated these hostages for 11 months. And Hamas executed 2 days ago these hostages. Netanyahu didn't do any of that. Hamas did all of that. Why is anybody out there right now yelling at Netanyahu for the killing of these 6 Israelis? And I know we're going to see it on college campuses again as school opens here now in this next week or two. They'll be out there protesting against Israel. They'll be out there waving Hamas and Hezbollah flags. I work at it every day. I didn't always used to be this way. Back in my Tea Party days, back in my Hellraiser days, back when I was a political asshole, I didn't see a lot of gray. You were either with me or against me, and I went after you if you were against me. You were either good or bad. Most of the world is gray. There's no gray here. None. Israel is good. Hamas is evil. Period. Barbara, I disagree. Barbara said Kamala Harris will never support Israel. Yes, she will. Will she support Israel as much as I want her to support Israel? No. I can't think of an American president who has supported Israel as much as I would support Israel. But Kamala Harris will support Israel. Kamala Harris has put out some really strong pro-Israel statements in the past month and a half. I have no doubt she will. And I have no doubt that I will, as much as I can, stay on her to be as supportive of Israel as she can. A final thought today, and again, thanks for listening, everybody. Short work week. People beat me over the head all the time. People rap me. Maybe many of you do. Now, look, Roseanne, if you ask the majority of the Israeli, Roseanne says if you ask the majority of the Israeli people, they'll say that Netanyahu is evil. No, they won't. No, they won't. Israelis don't believe Netanyahu is evil. Most Israelis don't support Netanyahu. Most Israelis are pissed at Netanyahu. Look, I'm off the charts pro-Israel. I called publicly for Netanyahu to resign 2 weeks after October 7th. I'm tired of Netanyahu. Netanyahu is not being helpful. I've acknowledged that, and I've said that publicly. But Netanyahu is not evil. And Israelis don't believe that. They believe he's wrong. And I'd remind you, Barbara and everybody else, of one more thing. In Israel, you have a right to protest your government. And they were out in the hundreds of thousands in Tel Aviv and around Israel protesting last night, demanding that Netanyahu and Israel do something to bring all the hostages home. I would remind everybody that you can do that in Israel because Israel is a democracy. Where are the Gazans? Where are all the Palestinians these past 11 months out on the streets in Gaza protesting Hamas? Where have they been? Since October 7th, we're told often that most Palestinians opposed what Hamas did on October 7th and have opposed what's been happening in Gaza for the past 11 months. Where are all the Palestinians? Where have they been? How come they haven't been out in the streets in Gaza protesting their government? Shouting out against their government, Hamas? Well, you know that answer. They're not, and they haven't been out there because they can't, because they'd be dead, because Hamas would kill them, because they're not free to do that in Gaza. What are your thoughts, Joe, about Trump telling Netanyahu to do anything or to not do anything until after he's elected? Look, there are reports that Donald Trump has privately told Benjamin Netanyahu, no hostage deal, no ceasefire deal, don't do anything helpful to Biden until after I win in November. There are a lot of reports that Trump has done that privately with Netanyahu. My thoughts are, it wouldn't surprise me because that's who Trump is. Trump doesn't give a fuck about anybody. Trump doesn't give a damn about this country. Trump doesn't give a damn about any but himself. I've called Donald Trump a traitor a bunch because I believe he's a traitor. And if the reports are true, and Donald Trump has been communicating, look, forget about Netanyahu. That's not our deal. If Netanyahu's been communicating privately with Trump and Netanyahu has said, all right, Donald, I ain't doing anything until after your election. No hostage deal, no ceasefire deal, nothing. That's despicable. And the Israeli people, right, should go after Netanyahu. He's their problem. Trump is our problem. And if these reports are true and Trump's been having these conversations privately with Netanyahu, imploring Netanyahu to not do anything to stop the war and return the hostages till after the election, That's an un-American, traitorous, treasonous thing to do. So it wouldn't at all be surprising that Donald Trump would do that. It wouldn't be surprising at all, because Trump is a traitor, because Trump is un-American. Hey, people beat me over the head. People beat me over the head all the time, and they say, I get hundreds of these messages every day. Joe, you're only voting against Trump. All you do is you talk about why you're voting against Trump. It's always against Trump. You never talk about why you're voting for, like before it was Biden, or why you're voting for Harris. It's always you're voting against someone. You're voting against Trump. Why are you for Harris? Why are you for Kamala Harris? You're not voting for Harris, Joe. You're just voting against Trump. Every day people accuse me of that. It's not true. I am voting against Trump, but I'm voting for Kamala Harris. I've got some reasons. Here are some reasons why I'm voting for Kamala Harris that have nothing to do with Trump. I'm voting for Kamala because she will accept the results of this election in November. That's important to me. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because if she loses, she will concede. She will congratulate Trump, and she'll participate in the peaceful transfer of power. That matters. I'm voting for Kamala Harris, for her, because I know she will abide by the Constitution. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because I know she won't lie every time she opens her mouth. I know she won't. I know all politicians lie, fudge, hedge a little bit, but I know Kamala Harris will not lie every time she opens her mouth. I'm voting for her because of that. I'm voting for Kamala because I know Kamala doesn't believe she's above the law. That's a really big deal to me. I'm voting for Kamala because if Kamala wins, she'll support Ukraine, not Putin. That's really important too. I'll give you one more. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because I don't believe Kamala Harris will purposely try to divide this country. That's really important. I'm voting for Kamala because I think she will actually try to unite this country. So that's just the start. I mean, that's just off the top of my head. That's 6 or 7 reasons why I'm voting for Kamala. Has nothing to do with Trump. If Kamala loses, she'll accept the election results. Oh my gosh, that's so important. That's a damn good reason to vote for someone. I want a candidate who will accept the results. Roseanne, this is what makes you a true American patriot. We may not agree on issues, respect. Roseanne, right back at you. Amen. And people say, Joe, hey, Joe, I get pounded by this every day, respectfully. Joe, what policies of Kamala do you support? What policies? Couple answers. I can give you a few policies. By the way, there's one. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she will continue support for Ukraine. Trump won't. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because Kamala Harris will continue to support NATO. Trump won't. Trump will support Putin. That's just one policy. But again, I'm a broken record. Right now, America comes first. Right now, America, our democracy, the rule of law, our Constitution, our democratic process, our elections process, the truth, all of this is more important right now than specific policy. So voting for someone who will not attack our democracy, voting for someone who will abide by the Constitution, I know Kamala will, Trump won't. That's more important to me than Kamala Harris's uh, um, economic policies she came out with a couple weeks ago to try to lower grocery prices at the grocery store. Just a bunch of gobbledygook, crazy. Didn't understand it, didn't agree with it. But that policy of hers to go after price gouging, disagreeing with Kamala Harris on that policy, I hope you agree with me. That's way less important to me, and it should be less important to you than, say, the rule of law, than, say, supporting a candidate who, when you speak and I speak in 65 days, oh, Keith, I'm closing with this, I promise. Just ring me up, man. Let me close on this note. Everybody listening to me right now, come on now. If this doesn't hit you, if this doesn't hit you all, then we're in trouble. The greatest power we have as citizens in this great country is our vote. Is our vote every 2 years to get out there and say, boom, this is what I say. This is who I want. This is what I want. That is the single greatest power we have as citizens in this democracy. You've got 2 candidates on the ballot right now, and only one of them has said that they accept and will respect that power that you and I have to vote. Kamala Harris has said, I want to win, but if I lose, the people spoke. I will respect what the people say. Only Kamala Harris has said that. Trump has said the exact opposite. Like in 2020, when, again, your greatest power, my greatest power, Donald Trump in 2020 tried to overthrow that power of ours. He's said again that he won't accept that power, that he won't accept our vote. How can you support that? Just that. That's a slap. That's Donald Trump giving you and me, everybody listening to us right now, the middle finger. The greatest single power you have in this in this country, in this democratic process, is every 2 years you come out and vote, and Donald Trump is telling you, fuck it, I will not accept what you do every 2 years. How can you accept that? How can you, with any decency, accept someone, vote for someone who would attack, give a middle finger to, try to usurp, and take away the greatest power you have as an American? Think about that. Hey, thanks for listening, everybody. This is Social Contract with Joe Walsh. Please follow me. Hello, TikTok. Please follow me on every platform. We're out there. TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Social Contract with Joe Walsh. Please go subscribe. Doesn't cost a thing. Social Contract with Joe Walsh, all one word. Please subscribe. Let's make it a great week, man. 65 days to go, man. Love you all. Be brave.
Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.